Óvinnin langar að berjast. Mættu örlög.
Dan, you have been in Gay Paris playing one of the one of the most anticipated games of 2017 for Honor.
Yeah, certainly up there. There's a fair few, I must say. The same day as Persona 5, so that's a war.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm certainly looking forward to it. I've seen a lot over the last few months. But what did you get to play? Like, what did you see of these of the kind of story and or the kind of game itself?
Well, as you say, Ubisoft took us over to Paris and we played For Honor, and we had probably about 3 hours with the game, I'd say. I think the majority of it was multiplayer. Probably an hour and 20 an hour and a half, maybe split. It might have been split, but probably split each of multiplayer and the single player. So, where do you want to go first? Which way do you want to go first? Story or multiplayer?
Let's go single player.
Single player, right?
Because I am really keen on multiplayer, but I want to kind of hold that off. So, single player.
Okay.
Did you play kind of a big chunk of the story? Was it?
It was
from the
2
middle?
missions, and it was the first mission was Knight. I was playing the Knight called Mercy, which I believe is a peacekeeper class in the multiplayer. She's small, nimble, kind of a fast class. And basically, what I was doing, I was infiltrating a Viking/Knight United camp. It was in the Viking world, and I'd have to sabotage it to basically get rid of this mead hall with all the big bosses in, to clear the way for my little ragtag group of rebellious knights to get through. And it was interesting. I think the problem is with the story at the minute, it's like you can't. So the basis was I was sneaking in, and you can't. There's no stealth in the game, so I was trying to sneak up, and then they noticed me immediately, and I was in a fight. So. It's not. It didn't. The mission. The kind of basis of the mission itself kind of conflicted with the mechanics of the game, but it was fine. I mean, I feel like the multiplayer is definitely what they're going to be concentrating on. The single player seems like it'll be fine. Seems like it's cool. I really like the idea of Vikings and knights and samurais coming together and either uniting or fighting, and it sounds really cool. I really love the idea. I love history. I love kind of. I love I love history programs, and this has been basically a Game of Thrones of Vikings coming to life. So it's great. I mean, the single player, I had problems with basically the AI of some of my enemies in the single player. So if I ever had to fight the big guys, there was this one guy who was blocking like a door or whatever, and he just did the same move over and over again, where he'd fucking run at me, break me, and then like knee me in the head, and it was like kind of in a loop, and I couldn't get out of it. And that's kind of a little bit of a problem it has in multiplayer, whereas kind of whoever gets the first punch in a fight kind of wins. But we'll get into that at a later point.
So yeah, I mean the one thing that I've been really interested on, and they've kind of talked a lot about, is the combat in the sense of it being uber realistic. So in other games you might just press like hitting a button to hurt someone, hitting a button to press your shield. But could you not specifically target parts of the body, or
no? It's weird.
How in depth is the combat?
I think there's a lot of depth to it, and I mean, so in the second mission I played, it was the first mission of the Viking story arc, and that was a gang of Vikings going in to get rid of some Vikings who'd gone evil and were just killing everyone and ransacking all their food, and that was a lot better because it was more full frontal assault, just storming in and killing folk. And it shines, I think, when like you feel so cool when you can just, because basically what the base is with For Honor, you can kill grunts easily because you're like the special soldiers, so you can just easily just swat aside grunts as if they're nothing, and you feel badass. And then you come up to someone who's equal to you, and then you have a duel. And it's really cool. I think the combat, basically how it works is, when you have duels with these big special soldiers, you'll hold the left trigger, which will lock onto them, and then you have an option to your stance, and you can choose either up, left, or right, and then basically it's a kind of game of rock paper scissors in the kind of way where you have to hit your enemy where they aren't standing, but to block their attacks you have to match their stance. Yeah. Now it's cool. It's good. I mean, it's a lot easier what we played in the single player because you're not playing against a human, and I feel maybe obviously it was probably not on the hardest difficulty at the time, so it's good. I like the premise of it. Obviously, when we get to the multiplayer, we'll talk about maybe a couple of the balancing issues it has. But it is fun. I feel like there's a lot of depth. So when we was given the tutorial, we entered the advanced tutorial because we rinsed through the actual one because I played it before. And then there was stuff like parrying and breaks, which different numbers. And then there's like different types of combos you can do with light and heavy attacks, which is kind of Dark Soulsy, where R1 is light, R2 is heavy. And then obviously you've got different... at the minute there's 3 different classes of character, which is basically light, medium and heavy, to keep it simple. And then their attacks are faster and slower but less powerful and stuff, and there's different combinations for each one. And there's quite a lot of depth which we didn't get to explore that much because we had to rush through type thing. But
I'm assuming you have a stamina bar as well,
yes,
so you can't just...
and yeah, you do, and it knackers. Yeah, your screen kind of goes black and white and that type of stuff.
Right.
You can't just... You shouldn't. It's a weird one. So if you're a big character, you want to cast stamina quicker, whereas the little ones have a little bit more because they're just doing lighter attacks, and that's where the balancing issues kind of come in. So the story, I'll talk a lot more about the combat momentarily. The story itself, it seems cool. I really like the idea of it, but I feel like the focus is the multiplayer. So we'll move on to that now, where I can talk a lot more about it.
Yeah,
we had 3 different game mods. It was Dominion, which a lot of people have seen. I think Dominion... Oh, man, I can't remember. What was the bloody third one? Let me check my notes. It was Dominion, which is basically a massive war, and I think it represents like medieval warfare brilliantly. The way that everyone just charges. It's basically capture the flag type thing. You capture the zone, domination, whatever you want. And basically there's... In the middle zone, that's where you have bots in this mode. So all the little grunts charge in, and it's like a war, and you charge in with them. It's proper build, it's proper Game of Thrones, Battle of the Bastards type stuff. You run in, and then you can just smash all your enemy grunts up, and then you'll have battles with the other online players. Then either side of the center point is A and C, and you take them, and basically it's the first person to have 1,000 points. But then when you're on 1,000 points, you have to kill all the online players who then can't respawn to then like settle the win. And it's really cool. I think it really like gets the feeling of a proper battle really well. I mean, it's just chaos. There's people running everywhere. Obviously there's 4 journalists of us playing together, Team Horse for the win, and we tried doing tactics like trying to stay. I'll stay here, I'll guard this place, you go out and there, but there's not much tactics to that because it's literally just a mass battle, a mass mesh of bodies, just poor cunts kicking the shit out of each other, really. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just frantic and fun.
So I bet you, like, it sounds like really good, and it is frantic. I'm assuming like it's good to. It feels not slow by any means, but compared to like these fast-paced Call of Duties where you're relying a lot on kind of Twitch-heavy gameplay. There's a lot more kind of strategy to it. You've got to think more, and that's kind of what I really wanted out of it.
It's interesting.
Was it not to be too fast paced? It just to be kind of like a real slug, but you feel like you're really getting somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel it is obviously because you've not got vehicles or your heavy guys. And I think it's a weird one because in some places with some characters you kind of encourage not to be aggressive, and with others you are, and it's kind of hard. In the amount of time I had, it was kind of hard to learn the meta and the way of doing it. So with one, it's because there's different. It's a really hard game to kind of talk about because there's so many different facets of it. So if you're with as a light character, which is like a berserker, with you're a Viking or a which is wrong because berserkers in actual Viking stuff are massive fucking bears. So they're wrong on the history front there. And peacekeepers who are they're kind of like the assassins, like quiet and sneaky type ones. If you're going up against a big guy, you can get absolutely munched if you're not fast enough and that type of stuff. But it's a weird. I'll get onto that. I keep saying this, but it's so much to get through. The other mode we played was one called Duel, and that was just basically online. Only online players, no bots, and it's a team against a team, but you have to. So you all start off facing an opponent. Then you can either choose to engage them and try and beat them, or run away, trying to make up with your team, then go for it together. And this game was really cool. I kind of like how the meta came to us all really quickly. So we learned that if you don't execute someone, which is if you hit them with a heavy attack and then press triangle or square, you'll kill them for good and they can't respawn. But if you only kill them without executing, you can be revived, which is a really smart way to do it. So you can only execute if you hit a heavy attack, which means you can't use the light attack, and the light attack is a way that you can kind of easily beat someone just by spamming it, because it's quick, and then you can't really move your stance or get a block in. But we learned that if they were just trying to light attack us and just kill us quickly, we could just run around and then revive people quickly, and then we'd soon outnumber them because they weren't executing us. We could get brought back to life. So it was a kind of a good way to balance out the way you can spam light attacks, which could get quite heavy. So the team we were playing, at one point they all of their characters went as light as the small characters who are faster with their light attacks, and we absolutely smashed them because they weren't executing us, whereas when we got to them we executed them. And it was interesting how the meta quickly developed, and it was really cool. I mean, in that mod it was really cool. So there's the deaths. It's not only like chopping heads off with axes and stuff. There's like environmental deaths. So there's one point you can get like pushed off bridges into rivers. You can get pushed off high mountains and just down the valley you go. At one point I got pushed onto a fire and burned to death, which was quite brutal. And yeah, it's a strange one how the balancing will... I'm intrigued to see how they'll manage the balancing, because as I said, they did that execution thing where you can only execute with heavy attacks to try and stop the light attacks, but you could see instantly where people... You know, like Overwatch, everyone goes as Tracer or whatever to be fast. You can easily see people in this, everyone being the lighter characters to be fast and just beat them, and it's a weird one. The last mod we played was Elimination, which is just... Oh no, that was elimination. Sorry, that I just said. The last one we played was Duel, and Duel is just a one-on-one match, and that's cool because it can be very intense. If your duel goes on for a while, it can be very cool. Like I was watching. There's 4 of us in a line when we was playing it, and we ended up just watching this battle next to us because it was like so intense of how close they were, like fighting on a bridge, proper Star Wars-esque, and like getting pushed off and stuff. Amazing. It's really cool, and I think it really does like evoke the feelings of medieval chivalry, like duels and the brutality of fights. Also, I think it gets a good balance with it. And my only not issues, but like concerns, is that how on the multiplayer side, how the balancing may have done. Now they've had an alpha already earlier this year, and I think they have added stuff. Like I think they added the heavy execution thing after that to try and combat everyone just using light attacks. And they've got another. I think they've got an open beta in January, I want to say. So I'll be interested to see if they take feedback from that and make it. You know what I mean? Try and improve the beta.
Yeah, because they've got a while, haven't they?
Yeah, but they're definitely... It seems like they're definitely committed to it. So there's a thing that they had told us about, which we didn't really get to see much of, but they told us it's called the Great War, I want to say. And it's basically, at the start of the game, you choose which faction you want to represent. And it doesn't hinder what characters you can want to be or anything. But you choose which faction you want to represent. Then there's a season, which is 10 weeks. A round, which is 2 weeks. And then something else, which is like 2 days or whatever. And if your faction wins either a round or a season or whatever, you get prizes and unlocks and like customizable stuff for your characters. There's a lot of stuff there you can customize. Like they're not your characters, but like you can, whichever character you like, you can start buying ornaments for the helmets. You can make their like armor and clothing different colours, and there's some really cool stuff. You can change your own emblem, like a lot of nice customization to make it feel a little bit more personal. And I thought it was really nice. I mean,
sounds ace.
It is fun. There's a lot of good stuff there. I mean, all the characters look really cool. I mean, they introduced new ones to us, which I think was the heavy class, which was like a massive Japanese Kubisho, I want to say, something like that, who has like a massive fucking club. There was like warriors, and it all looks really cool. The maps look really cool, and it's an interesting thing about it. It's like I think I want to say there's 12 different maps, but each map has about 4 to 6 variants, and the maps change depending on who's winning in the Great War. So if the Vikings are winning, the map will be Viking themed. If the samurais are winning, it'll be samurai themed, and then the weather will change because of that. The aesthetic of some of the buildings will change because of that. And so I think there's about 60 map variants from 12 maps, something like that. And the maps look really cool. I mean, I want to say they change for the game mode as well, I want to say. And I mean, they're really cool. So in the the Dominion map, the first one we played, the setting of that map was kind of a siege at a castle, and we were the attackers, and so you could see the massive kind of battering ram on the door, and when we won, the door went down, and there's a cutscene of us going in and killing everyone. I mean, it's really good. I think the really good job of like kind of setting the scene of this medieval, and even though it's completely fantastical of these 3 different factions coming together, I think it really meshes quite nicely, and I mean the aesthetic of it's great. Combat, as I say, combat's fun. It takes a bit of getting used to. I mean, stuff like the break, which is weird because when we noticed with the break was that the symbol would come up where you had to press square to break, which would like push your enemy away a bit, and the symbol would come up, but you shouldn't press it like till kind of like a second after. There was a weird unsynchronization there. And there's a couple. There's things that'll get developed in time. There's a couple. They've got a couple of months, 3 months till it's coming out. There's like a couple of balancing issues, maybe with how the meta will go with light versus heavy and all that type of stuff. But I am excited for it. I must say, we had in the multiplayer, like we was allowed to talk to, we was talking to each other, and we had a lot of fun. It was really a sense of camaraderie in the teams and stuff. I do wonder how much it'll depend, like Overwatch, on playing with friends. Yeah. Because we had such a good time, just like as we talking to each other, getting the tactics, and then just laughing at it because it's kind of a funny game as well. When one of our teams remaining running away from 3 people and they're just circling in, it is quite fun, and I wonder how much that'll depend on having people to talk to and stuff. Yeah, but I enjoyed it a lot. Is there anything else you want to know? I mean, I've rambled on for quite a while.
Man, I think you've certainly, like, my hype for this game was pretty high, and now it's just like through the roof. I'm just really excited about this multiplayer and how they kind of are gonna do it.
It seems like they're very much committed to it. I mean, like they said, the new content will be added for free, new maps and stuff. I imagine new characters possibly as well. Don't know if they'll be paid or not, but they said loads of new content for free. They weren't going to split the user base, and the Great War is actually cross-platform as well, I must say. So it's all PC, Xbox, and PS4, all on the same thing. So it's very cool. They seem very committed to the multiplayer. I am getting the sense like the Call of Duty type thing, where the story might be a little bit tacked on, maybe a training ground for the actual multiplayer type thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
But the multiplayer seems, apart from Chivalry, there's nothing much like this, and Chivalry does it a lot differently to For Honor. I mean, going in, I was always wondering if I'd like to play the game without the kind of the cursor which tells you where you're standing. But absolutely not. That'd be impossible because it's so frantic at times. The cursor is definitely needed, but it's a cool way. I don't think I've ever seen combat done this way before. I mean, there's not enough games about Vikings and knights and stuff like that. So I'm excited for it.
Sounds amazing.
The music's great as well, I must say. They have Viking samurai music, all of it. It's really, really good, and I'm looking forward to it. As I say, there's a couple of balancing issues, but they're on the right course.
They've got time.
They're on the right course. A lot of fun I had playing.
Awesome. All right, mate. Well, I guess we should leave it there.
Absolutely.
You can obviously watch the video on YouTube /GodisaGeek. You can head over to GodisaGeek.com or follow us on Twitter at GodisaGeek, and you can follow Dan at Mabroski, and you can follow me at FirstAvenger83. So I guess all that's left to say is goodbye and thanks for listening.